Hello guys, welcome to this short video presentation on the value and pricing course about how to make phenomenal profit using value-based pricing. In this presentation, we'll be talking about value and pricing, who this course is for, the current challenges creative designers face with pricing, the features and benefits of this course, what will this course teach you, the problems this course solves for you, how long it takes to start seeing results, and what all this is worth. Now, what is value and pricing about? Value, looking at its dictionary meaning, is the regard that something is held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. For example, you say, your support is of great value. And looking at price is, the amount of money expected, required, or given in payment of something. Like the land could be sold for a high price. But is this all there is to value and price? I mean, in real life. And looking at it from the creative service providers' view, there surely is more to it than this. And understanding the importance of, these two words is very, very vital in making profits while setting a price. While the two words can be used interchangeably, what is the value of this course, for example, or what is the price of this course? One determines the other, and the way it goes is the value determines the price. So seeing things from that, seeing the way you interact with your customers from that aspect is the very crux in which you can get to start change the way you price and start making profits basically. Now, who is this course for? Basically graphic designers, like those into brand design, marketing design, web design and development, UI, UX and all. Marketers and advertisers, or people into marketing and advertising basically. Digital marketers, people into content marketing, social media marketing, advertising, direct mail, outdoor advertising, social media and podcast advertising. Basically. Copywriters also, every aspect of copywriting. Photographers and videographers, brand managers, those into product branding, social media branding, service branding and all. Now, but this course is for, way more than this. It's practically for anybody that provides services to customers that come with different scopes of needs. Like the first customer you have probably in a week or in a day, despite the fact the things they are demanding is within the same range of things, the scope at which your customers come, varies. Some want something that spans much longer duration or can handle greater volume depending on what you are doing. Now, what are the challenges creative designers face when it comes to pricing? The list can really not be exhausted. From setting a low price and your customers nagging it down to the problem of even understanding in the first place what exactly your clients want and how to interact with them. You get jobs where you overwork, you get jobs where you underestimate the job, you get customers that come back for corrections and modifications again and again and again. You have customers that they are just difficult. You just don't know how to. You have tried everything, nothing is working. And there are the competitors, other creative designers like you, that set their prices in such a way that when you tell your customers their price, they tell you, okay, I have somebody to do it for less, and all. So how does all this have an effect on your price, and how does your price have an effect on this? And on the large scale, how does value and pricing have an influence on all of this? So this is one of those things we're going to be discussing in this course. Now, basically, this course is a 12 module course that sufficiently covers topics that were carefully selected. And of course, the first thing we would like to address is the mindset reorientation. So you can change how you charge. Now, why do we have to start with the reorientation? This has first of all to do with understanding what value and price is. if we don't know what exactly we are trying to improve, if we don't know what exactly our customers want, then there is no room for discussion. There is no point of having any discussion on profit, because profit is fully anchored on price. Also, we in this course is a simplified description of complex principles in a way that you do not just understand these principles, but they are made to be very, very relatable in real life. With ready-made step-by-step models and examples of how to have a value conversation. Now, what is the value conversation? We address that in the course. A value conversation is that point where you and your customer sit down. You understand what the customer wants. You ask the right questions. You exhaust their list of problems, their needs, their pain points. Scenarios where they do not know that they have issues with them. You exhaust those things in this same value conversation. And not just that, you also work towards establishing a price. Do you understand? Arrive at agreements. Do you understand? Even before the whole full total agreement, you arrive at agreements, arrive at consensus during the value conversation. This course contains ready-made steps and models and examples of how to have this value conversation, so that your communication with your client comes off as natural. You're asking the right question, you're asking it in the right tone, in the right manner. With word-for-word questions, the statements you can literally just copy, paste, and you're done, or you modify it to suit your style or whatever situation you find yourself in. And it's a video course with a very interactive screen display with illustrations and text on screens, so you conveniently follow the course and understand what is being taught. Nothing goes beyond what you see and what is said. Yes, the calculations, we are talking about price, we're talking about value. How do you convert the value your client sees into a price? What formulas do you use? We have explained everything in the course, and we put up all on-screen calculations so that you're not missing out in the numbers. How do we get from 100,000 to 250,000? Everything is clearly represented on the screen, so you don't need to trouble yourself so much. You don't get stuck trying to figure out the maths. Yes, in the course we also talked about we did not hide the sources we got these lessons from. So you get exposed to these sources. You can later on go through them to better understand the topic. And yes, we compiled an practically inexhaustible list of examples of the many real life ways you can deliver value, and how to also come up with new ways of delivering value irrespective of your niche. So what would this course teach you? In 2 words, value and pricing. It's a no-brainer. That's what the course is about. And we'll be teaching them under these topics in modules. So module 1 and module 2. Module 1's topic is, exposition on the origins and determinants of value. Module 2 talks about the modern view of value, what it is not and what it should be. So here we'll go through the mindset orientation. We'll talk about of how to charge by first learning from the history and accessing how and what determines value to your clients. Now, there is something very peculiar about value and pricing and where they differ. Your clients and you have different parts to play in each of these things. One is the determiner of price, one is the determiner of value. So you understand what is value to your client. Consider how that history of what was wrongly perceived as value influences how we set our prices now. The current modes of pricing, hourly based pricing is pretty much the most common form of pricing. What actually influenced it? How did it influence the way we set prices in that way currently? And what should value really look like in modern terms? We also describe the scenario that is almost real life to juxtapose the effects of the wrong perception of what value is and what the value really is, juxtapose it so you see for yourself and see how much they influence our price. In module 3, we talked about value proposition, what value looks like to your clients. Now, value proposition is basically how you express what values you are capable of to your client. And the first thing to do is understand what language your client speaks when they want value. How do you know what they want? What naturally do your clients look for when they come to you and okay, what does this guy have to offer? What are those things they look at? We have carefully talked about it, addressed it, split everything into its very basics, and presented in a way that is very easy for you to understand, and things you can change, things you can improve, things you can focus on while you're trying to propose your value. In module 4 and 5, we talked about the 4 Ds of value. That is value differentiation, value discovery, value delivery, and value description. So from the lens of one of the most important rules in the delivery of value and setting a profitable price, Don Pepys and Mataroja says that customers do not want to be treated equally; they want to be treated individually. So we look to dive into the nitty-gritty of value by considering the ways value differ amongst your clients. We talked about your clients having different scopes of their need. So under these modules, we talked about how that scope varies amongst your clients. You understand? We also talk about how to set up your customer interaction in such a way that your clients get a better insight of how best you can solve their problems. And then we'll go through an inexhaustible list of the many ways you can deliver value and the method of coming up with more and more ways to deliver value for your clients. In module 6, we talked about bundling by budgeting and value options. So, given the so many ways to deliver value we have talked about in module 5, how then do you now put up your offers for your clients? How then do you bundle things together in such a way that it's budget friendly and at the same time drives profit to you? And budget friendly does not by any means is not restricted to just the financial capacity of your clients. Okay, what's your budget? My budget is, let's say, 500,000. No, we're not just talking about budget in the financial aspect. There is way more to budgeting than money. We also considered a foolproof way to avoid a no from your client under value options. So when you're presenting options, how do you ensure that the chances of your client saying no is almost zero? Do you understand? So we talked about that under value options. In modules 7 to 9, we talked about price. Now, considering we have talked about value in the previous modules, it's now time to talk about price. Here we define and describe price given all we have explained in the previous modules. Putting aside the ineffective methods of pricing and focusing on the methods that can guarantee exponential profits. We go on to set certain guidelines that should precede your customer interaction and set the tone for your customer interactions before, during, and even after your customer interaction. We also, invoked the practice of value discovery. So how does value discovery apply to in a conversation, basically, or right inside your interaction? And we, it's in this value discovery that you unravel your client's wants and, their capacities, and you understand, we explain the subtle work of how not to leave money on the table during your diagnosis. But we are here to scratch the surface. We also talked about the questions to ask your clients with real life templates on how to ask them with the step-by-step way of unraveling their needs, wants, and their capacities with top-notch insight on how to conduct a customer research. How do you do your research? How do you, not just a customer research, even a price research, a competitor research. We talked about all this in details. What to look out for, what to focus on, some pitfalls to avoid. Then we concluded this group of modules with the first method of how to deduce the price step by step. Now, in modules 10 and 11, we are still talking about price. So we talked about the value conversation, basically addressing the ways to arrive at the price. We talked about the first part in the previous group of modules. In this group of modules, we talked about the other part. And this happens to be what we'll call, the climax of this course, where you find the refined gold of pricing, like how to price with the highest chances of generating profit for your services, for you, basically. So we went through we tried to reestablish what we have taught from the beginning, and the vital objectives and guidelines to actually work with while having the conversation. So it's not just something that is just random, scattered and everything. We arranged it in objectives, step by step, on how to go about it. This time's more questions, new numbers, and with a carefully crafted template that, yes, you can copy and paste, modify to suit your situation, depending on the customers you're talking to and your niche. So we'll take you through the calculations, the formula, step by step, so that nobody is stuck with the maths, not you and not your client. Remember, we said that the value conversation is where you and your client sit down and deduce the price, agree on some set down principles, basically. So the math is not just for you, it's also for your customers. Now, we also talked about the options you can exploit in certain scenarios while interacting with your clients. I'll call them backdoors. You can go through to gain a little bit more advantage depending on your situation. And how to handle risk is a very, very, very important thing in price. It's basically how price has always worked. The more risk you're able to handle, the more of course, profit you're able to make with price. And so we talked about risk and guarantees, how to handle risk and how to give guarantees. In module 12, the final module, we concluded with how to communicate value and a commitment on your part to practice. So, of all the things you've learned in the previous modules, communicating value is where every single thing relies on. So on what grounds do you communicate value? Depending on the type of price you're setting, depending on the type of services you're offering, depending on the set of values your customers are looking for. How do you communicate it? How do you communicate your ability to deliver value to them? And yes, all of this does not go without saying that it is work on your part to get better, to learn, to practice. That is the biggest guarantee you can get. You practice everything, you keep at it, you learn, you evolve, you then get to improve on the way you interact with your customers and how your customers see you, and how new customers will start to see you. Positioning yourself as an expert, them seeing you as an expert, coming to you as an expert. All of this, everything relies on your practice.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Olatubosola Daniel, and I am a mobile developer. I build mobile applications. Concerning the price and value course by Maven, the course is actually one of the greatest courses I have actually listened to in recent times. And this is because the teachers of the course understand exactly what we how do I say it? We value givers, basically. They understand the dilemma we go through when we want to put prices on our worth, on our value, and they really dealt in depth with the cost. So previously, my knowledge of giving prices to clients was that I would think on the hours it will cost me, the number of months it will cost me. I would think of the number of hours per day, and I would also think of usually the things I would need to pay for in order to give maximum value. But then going through the course, I realized that it's usually not about that. It's usually about how much worth does the project bring to the client, because in different places value and worth could mean a lot of things. So it's usually based on the value of how much the client values the project they're bringing onto you. And then I also learned that it's best to be an expert, like a doctor is to a patient, rather than a vendor, like someone selling rice and then you have to price down the price of the Congo and all that. So I learned it's best to be an expert and then they listen, and then you can give them the best advices. So now I think I have more courage. I can pick up more projects and give prices that I am comfortable with. So I I I know that okay, it's usually not about this, and it's more about this. What value do I know that I'm giving out, and what value is the client going to be getting? How happy is he going to be with the project? And then I price him based on that. So the course was very detailed, very in depth, like as basic things as definitions, examples. I highly recommend the course for your pricing and value. Thank you very much.
My name is Oluwa Pelumi and I'm a freelance graphic designer and writer. So I took a course by Learn with Maven on price and value, and I must really appreciate the team that put the course together for their awesome work. It was very nice, it was very informative, it was highly educative, and thank you to the team for putting the course together. And yes, I appreciate how they did their research, and then they got very fine information from top quality resources. And I must say that when they simplify this information, because on my own when I tried to wrap my head around some of their quotations from those resources, I found it very difficult, but then they made it simple and then I understood perfectly the message of the course. And yeah, there are two things I took away from the course, and one of those things is that is how to determine my price, and the value that determines my price, and that value is actually the satisfaction that my customer enjoys. And the second thing is that the only way to identify the amount of satisfaction my customers enjoy is by interacting with them. So I should not displace or misplace that in my customer engagement. Thank you very much.
My name is Duel Olatubosun. I'm a graphic designer specializing in brand identity design. So I would say the course was quite engaging, and that would most likely be because it had what I was looking for. So it was just like a confluence of interests. Yeah. So on my knowledge of pricing, I have been in this freelancing business for a while now. So I have an idea of the different kinds of pricing, the good and the bad. So I'll just say what this course majorly did was to reinforce the structures I had in mind already. Like to reinforce the decisions that I will be making in charging for my work, because sometimes one of the challenges I face is the question of am I overcharging or undercharging. So that was one of the things this course did, just to strengthen my resolve to charge based on the value I would be dishing out, based on the value the clients would receive from whatever I do for him. So that's what I'm going to do differently. I'll charge better. And then about the videos, what I like was the fact that I could read alongside what I was hearing. So it's not just someone just saying something in the video, but I could also read. So it helped me to learn faster. It helped me to go through the courses faster, because as I was hearing, I was also seeing what I was hearing.
All this being said, you have talked about what the cost stage is. How does that really impact what impacts would you start to see? Do you understand? After taking and practicing the course, so you would learn how to talk to your customers very well, how to say it, and what to say and how to say it. What's the problem of how to present yourself to your clients before you interact with them, while you're interacting with them, and after your interaction with them? The problem of how exactly to make your clients see your price as fair. It solves the problem of weeding out bad customers. How do you weed them out? How do you not invest so much in them before you realize that okay, this person is not exactly we're not going to get the best from our interactions. How to weed bad customers. It solves the problem of how to avoid your clients having to come back again and again and again for corrections and revision. And you learn to prevent yourself from incurring more cost from all these corrections and all. And why is that? Because you learn how to practically exhaust the scope of what your client needs, even things that they would end up discovering later that okay, there is also this problem, we would need to have to do this, this and that. You learn how to make sure that every single area is covered in your scope of how to deliver value, understanding the value conversations, your interactions with them. You learn everything there. It also solves the problem of how to use your client's budget in your favor. Interestingly, the budget is what we see as the limitation. No, not exactly. You learn how to use your client's budget in your favor and drive profits. How to go beyond their budget and anchor on their hope and desire for solution to their problem, their goals. Instead of anchoring on their budget, they rather anchor it on the solutions that you are not just promising them, they're not just hoping to get, but you would show them how we are going to get it. So basically, and how achievable that is. How to engage your clients in a way that they become much less likely, to consider your competitors, and the exact questions to ask your clients and fully understand their needs. We've talked about that. So no stones are left unturned. The alternative method and back roads of setting a near perfect price. In case the grand method is less feasible, there are certain scenarios where the value-based pricing model would not work depending on the situation. So an alternative method of getting a near perfect price in that case. It also solves the problem of what to communicate when communicating with your clients when in regards to value, and how to remove the biggest reasons your clients shift to your competitors. So given all this, how long would it really take to start showing results? And yes, it starts from your very next interaction with a client. Provided from that very first interaction you start to apply the processes, the ways, the methods, you prioritize the objectives you learn in the course. And no, your first interaction would not be perfect, would not be perfect, yes. The first time, it would not be perfect. But the more you practice, the better you get. So in 6 months of practice, very likely less of practice and customer interaction. By practice I mean how do I describe it? Probably practicing with a friend how to have the conversation, practicing alone, and making sure that the sample and templates that we are given, you have them already at the back of your mind. But all this boils down to really having the conversation with a real customer. So 6 months of practice with customers, implementing these lessons you have learned, you'll be able to surely see landslide difference in the way you profit. Now, what is all of this worth? First of all, I would start by saying, what is your current condition? What what struggles are you going through, first of all? Is it overworking clients? Is it having to nag clients again and again and again? Is it not even know you don't even know the right price to use? Is it right pricing strategy to use? Is it dissatisfied customers? Yeah, because you don't exactly understand what they're saying. You know what it is. You know your financial state. You know how much I've invested in your skills. You know all these things. You know yourself. And what price would you put on the solution to your problems? The solution to all your troubles as a creative service provider. You've invested in learning skills. You have improved on your skills. You have sharpened it again and again and again. But how much has changed in the way you profit? I really can't put a value on this for you. You know where it hurts the most. Yes, the templates. So when it comes to having a conversation with anybody, it's not just enough to know what to do. Okay, this is how you position yourself. This is the tone to use. This is what to do, what not to do. It's not exactly enough. But here we are talking about not just what to do. We're talking about how to do it. This alone is surely not worth less than 50,000 naira. Now, beyond that, there are so many things you do for your clients. You already do them, and they don't know they should be paying for. But do you know yourself? You yourself, do you know that you should be paid for these things? I will tell you these things in this course. Now, given how much you are really, really leaving on the table, come on, this is worth well over 100,000. Now, that's how much you have left on the table. What of how much more you can earn? The secret to how the big boys in your niche get so rich is in their price. Pun is not intended. This is real deal. See, you can make that high ticket that you were promised when you decided to learn that skill you were learning. Is it copywriting? Is it advertising? Is it graphics design of every single branch of it, whichever branch you choose, videography and photography? The promise it was high ticket, right? Yes. You can really know, you would really figure out how the secrets of how those guys that really make much in it, how they really make their money. Now, that alone is worth nothing less than 200,000. You will also be getting how to position yourself and the solutions you provide to your clients in such a way that they lose resistance to whatever price you give them. So they're not there nagging your price and all. Why? Because they see you as an expert. And you know that the same way the big boys make, the most, it's the same way you can get to start making the most, because since your, clients would not even have any reason to cut down on your price. Now, if you know what that really means, you understand that it's way more than 100,000. Now, beyond all that, beyond everything that I've said, you get a community where you get to work with a team of, people like you, other creative service providers like you, where you get to collaborate, bag huge clients, take on massive projects. It's important to also know that working in a team is always better than working alone. It's like playing a football match alone, playing a football match against 11 players. It's already a lost game. Working in a team always trumps. So you get access to a community of creative service providers like you, where you collaborate, get clients, take on massive projects, and that's at least we'll give that at 20,000. Now, given all of this, everything I've said, we have decided to set the price ridiculously low. Original price was 70,000, but then, for reasons which I would explain, we are putting the current price as 90. But why is the price ridiculously low? Now, I've spent some time, working as a creative service provider, and It was during this time I understood the major dilemma that creative service providers have when it comes to setting a price. And I knew where I was, getting to have to do a research, figure out what exactly is the right way to, set a price. Encountered courses that I wish I would be able to take, but I could not take because, of course, I did not have the money to take it. That's why you have set the price this low, so that as many people in the creative service business can hop on this offer, learn these things, get better, and the whole promise of that high ticket becomes that reality once more. So we're giving this at this low price. The price will increase at least back to the original price and further up. But for now, we are setting that a price of 2,000, so that as many people as want to get this course can get it, at a very low price and start making profit. So now, what should you do? Very simply and very quickly, reach out to the person that sent you the link to this video and ask for the link to the course. This is an opportunity that should never ever pass you by. Why? Because you'll not find anybody that will teach you this course this way, with this much detail, with the templates and examples. I've tried to search out myself if I could find a detailed course that would address value and pricing, and I could not find. And people are still searching, they have not found. So this is one course that will give you everything you need to know, to the level that you need to know it when it comes to value and pricing. So yes, this is not something you should miss out on. Reach out to the person that sent you the link to this video and get the link to the course. Take it, practice. The more you practice, the better you get at it. It's also very important to keep in touch. There are more courses coming from this platform with time. This topic would like to elaborate more on certain aspects that we have identified as